Hello everyone, this is Ray from Exclusively Comics and Entertainment, and today we're going to be reviewing the inside information over the Batman 2022 film that is coming out, and we are going to be discussing that maybe I was wrong. Maybe this movie is going to be absolutely fantastic, and so I'm going to be going over some info. This really isn't spoilers per se, but these screenings was done on Robert Patterson's Batman, and I'll say that I'm very surprised and shocked about exactly how these interpretation of what the Batman does. It was a 3-hour screening now of the film, and thanks to these posts are from Blu-ray Angel, and he had known somebody that was at the screening, and he gave these interpretations of what they told him about the screening. And also I was able to look at another YouTuber, Babu Talks, and he put these together, did a lot of work, and so I'm bringing this to you, and kudos to Babu Talks for doing all this work, and helps little guys like me review upcoming films. And I want to say that I'm optimistic about the movie, and I'm looking forward to it now, and hopefully that it will lead up to the expectations that I have, and different YouTubers and different fans and insiders have about the movie, that maybe it wasn't as bad as previously has been reported on, and it seems that's the case a lot, isn't it, about all of the negative hype that is surrounding these films. And I look forward to maybe going and seeing this film in the theaters, as it will be released in the theaters, and giving my interpretation when it actually comes out. And really did not understand really where the direction of this film was going to go. I mean, we're all used to the past Batman films, other than the Christopher Nolan films, which was terrific, that we can expect a very dark undertone to this Batman. And we get the sort of the news on this, that this is Batman Year 2, about 6 months into Batman Year 2, it looks like it may be a good film. And you can check out Babu Talks on his review that he had a few days ago over this. And I'm just going to give my opinions on this film, and look forward to seeing it. And I hope that the film lives up to the hype that is being portrayed. The first off was that this Blu-ray guy said that, and he had some pretty interesting quotes on everything, that the Batman film, quote, the Batman film is a horror film, very graphic, very dark, very scary. Paul Dano is crazy. Now, I'm not going to say any of the expletives. Is very a dark, sinister character, and that's what we need. We need a very dark undertone type film. I think that is a good direction for the Batman. It was sort of the undertone of Batman film that was going to be made years ago. That was sort of the Batman, Bruce Wayne before all of the gadgets and everything like that. That we have this very basic Batman. I mean, I'm writing my own version of Batman film, and it's at the tail end of Batman. His run as Batman, an older, more seasoned, hardened Batman, which sort of goes down the lines of what Ben Affleck's Batman story would be, but take a little bit darker tone in my story. But I think that this Batman really will have a lot of appeal to a lot of people, and the overall tone of the movie, and adding some of the darker tones of the movie is that that we see that as Paul Dano portrays the Riddler in this movie, that it is going to be relatively really questioning the Bruce or the Wayne name, and this really gets into the movie of the Joker, and Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. I mean, if Joaquin Phoenix shows up as a Joker, in this film, I'll be like, oh my god. Really. Because, he is, like I have said, I think that he has the best chance about the best portrayal of the Joker that has ever been on film. And so we are going to get, I think, this from the Batman, and hit the Riddler as Paul Dano. This Riddler is more of a guy who thinks that he's doing right, and he just crosses the line, and goes and does whatever he has to do to get the job done. And so and there's some tones of this, and Batman has always crossed that threshold of that he's right there on the edge of villainy, maybe, but he doesn't, but he lives by a code, and we'll discuss that here in a minute. But the overall tone of this movie is really dark. It's not campy dark like the Tim Burton movies, and which I think that is good. It gives a little bit more realism. We have to really understand storytelling right now, that as a writer, what separates the difference between the villain and the hero, and what lines are we willing to cross and what lines are we willing not to cross. And that is the story, really of Batman, and he's always been on the edge. He's the Dark Knight, and so yeah, that's where we are getting some of the portrayal of Batman here in this film. We also see what was the overall interpretation of Matt Reeves' Matt Reeves. Oh yeah, the overall interpretation of Matt Reeves and how Robert Patterson portrayed this on the screen. The thing is that we need to understand, and the overall. There was a lot of criticism with Robert Patterson, and I was one that criticized that he was not putting the time in as far as working out and getting in shape and becoming this muscular type Batman. And we have to understand that Batman, Bruce Wayne, that he has primarily neglected his duties as Bruce Wayne of the board of Wayne Enterprises, and for the last year he is basically, all he's done is lived as Batman, and that's all he's done. He hasn't really pursued and been the CEO and been the philanthropist. I wish I could pronounce. And been the playboy, of what we have seen, and been the guy that always relied upon his gadgets and all his wealth and things like this, and that's all we've seen in the Batman. Is we've seen, Batman as this guy that this man that has two separate lives. He's the playboy, he's the CEO, and then he's Batman. And but we really delve more into the psychology of Batman. And one YouTuber reviewing this said that about this review that the film delves into really on that Batman is borderline psychotic, and also that in dealing with this, that he's met with a person in the Riddler who's going to push him to the breaking point, and try to get him to cross that line, but he does not cross the line in the film. His voice, of course, that's one of the good things about the trailer, is that he has this voice that says, "I am vengeance," and it's got to be to where whether what we are going to or be able to make it believable. And really, Robert Patterson's Batman is more realistic, and it's a very, very dark undertone, a very dystopia. That's one of the things that Gotham has always been portrayed as a dystopia. I think Tim Burton really sort of started that feeling, and even though it was a little bit campy, but it was really a dark, kind of dreary feeling, and maybe in some respects that is the way that Batman needs to be for this day and this hour, because of the really the disconnect that there is with people from society right now, so this ought to be a good film. Even Matt Reeves, director, says that this is his vision of Batman and not really Warner Brothers' vision of Batman, that he has been given total autonomy how to make this film, which I don't know about that. And I'll get into that in a minute, where this film really needs to be a winner for them. The next thing is that Zoe Kravitz's portrayal of Catwoman, Selena Vile, that she really does a fantastic job in doing this. I mean, we can see in the trailer that the type of chemistry that there is between Robert Patterson and Zoe Kravitz, and reportedly there was an affair between them two. But who knows if that's true or not. But we don't know. So she does a really good job. That the trail of this. Another thing that is said is that Robert Patterson's Batmobile is just amazing. It's awesome. You know, it's sort of like more realistic, I would say, of what it would be. I mean, I don't know, I really like that one that was in The Dark Knight. That was more of like a Hummer type one. Yeah, I really liked that one. But we'll see how it goes in that. Now, one thing that I do like here that this guy said is that number one, well, let's get this, that there was definitely a romance scene between that was pretty intense in the movie. I don't know if this movie is going to be rated R. It'll probably be rated PG-13 if it's a Batman. It would be interesting if it was rated R. But I really think it needs to be PG-13. That's just my opinion. You know, you all know my opinions on superhero movies, that, you know, they need to be made for the whole family. But yeah, there's supposed to be some intense film, some intense making out in the movie. And also, they said here that I like this about, it said that Robert Patterson's Batman is the world's greatest detective. He is so smart. And now I really like that, and that's something that really has been failed to be captured on the screen. Now, I'm sure that Ben Affleck's Batman would go in that direction too. I mean, of course, the plan for his Batman movie was that the main villain was going to be Deathstroke, and Deathstroke was going to dismantle Bruce Wayne's entire life because of Lex Luthor saying that he had killed Deathstroke's son. But anyway, you know, we see that scene here in the trailer of Bruce Wayne, you know, a vigilante, or Batman, a vigilante, walking in with a bunch of FBI agents, and they're asking his help because they need his help, because he's like 10 steps ahead of everybody else. And so that ought to be really interesting. Next, on the relationship between him and Alfred, that, you know, there is of course a warm relationship between him and Alfred. Alfred is hiding a secret, and I think that this secret is going, probably, as it says, that it's going to continue on, that the Waynes' history has been relatively dark, that they're not the great philanthropist that everyone says they were. Which, you know, I don't know. I mean, if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, I think that really, if we're going to go down this road, that there needs to be some shades of gray, because not necessarily that Bruce's dad was this evil guy. I don't think that that's good, but I think that because that is who Bruce's motivation is in his entire comic books, is to live up to the expectations of what his dad would want. We have said that, we have seen where Alfred is hiding a secret, and perhaps this is what this is about. And this is where the Riddler is going to be able to push him, and the Paul Dano is going to be this, very in what this guy says. He says that, comparing the Riddler to, or Paul Dano's Riddler to Heath Ledger's Joker, is that the Riddler is very angry at the world, for not being loved, with too much knowledge, and streams online, locks himself in, and plans strategic killings. So he is able to, he being a villain, he goes down that path to where he actually does kill people. And I think that is where, he crosses over into the villainry. And I think that this line is really made the difference between what a hero is and what a villain is. And I think that really is good. And I think that even though that it is, even though that it pushes the boundaries, and this film tends to do that, that it will leave us with the tone that, the most important thing about Batman is that Batman will not kill. He does not use a gun, and he will not kill. And this is one of the themes in which Matt Reeves wants to emphasize here. Now, he may be pushed to the brink to this, and being, like I said, having a character like the Riddler would do this, because we're not going to have a comic book. We're not going to have the campy comic book Riddler of Jim Carrey. We're going to have a darker Riddler here, which I love. And I hope that they do not kill the Riddler off in this movie. That's my hope. Please do not kill the Riddler off in this movie. Don't do what Marvel does and kill off all of your villains, because the villains is what makes the hero the hero. But it is absolutely, and that Matt Reeves, the director, says that this is a point to where there is no return, that Batman will not kill. And now I think that the lines got blurred with Batman versus Superman, where Batman, Ben Affleck's Batman wanted to kill Superman, which I don't think he would have ever been pushed to that point. We get to the, when Zack Snyder's universe, Superman killed Zod, and then we get to, Infinite Crisis, where, Superman ended up killing the Joker. And now it's interesting to explore those different aspects. Zack Snyder toyed with this, that, Superman become the ultimate villain for, Darkseid, and because of, the death of Lois Lane. And it was, and also, we got a little bit of that dark undertone from Zack Snyder, in the Snyder Cut. And I'm not really a fan of that. Superman needs to be, heroes need to be heroes, villains need to be villains. And, and maybe heroes always, need to be portrayed that they're pushed to that point, but there just comes a point, there comes a line that they will not cross. And that's what makes them the hero. That's the reason why they're the role model, is because, they stand for truth. They stand for justice. The CW, Superman and Lois, episodes and series really explores that aspect and really portrays the best Superman that there has been portrayed since Christopher Reeves on screen, in live action, and that's in my opinion. And there's a saying that is true, and it was from Tommy Lee Jones in a movie, that there's a war, there's two dogs, one dog is mean and one dog's the other, and how do you know which dog is winning? It's the one you feed the most. And this is like the reality, to do good and to do evil. We're all pushed to that, but then we have to deal, and the reason why we have to deal with the corruption, and we're dealing with that in society today, the absolute total corruption of, and I don't want to get into politics, but the absolute total disconnect and the absolute corruption that there is all about us. And here we're just trying to live our lives, and what is good and what is evil, the lines are so blurred in today's society. And I think that if this movie, the Batman, can really portray that, and Robert Patterson can capture that, that it will be, really a breath of fresh air. And it is going to be, it is going to be, I think, a good movie. They say that it's running. Now, the screening of this was 3 hours long, and perhaps it will be cut down, and usually the films are cut down after the screenings. And also, we also get glimpses of, foreshadowing to other, movies. And if the movie is this dang good, and I'll say this, I want Robert Patterson back as Batman. And, we have Shades, and also we have Colin Farrell that plays, the Penguin. And totally unrecognizable as Colin Farrell. And he's all scarred up. Maybe he has, someone said, and Bobo said that, it looks like maybe he has a scar left by the Joker or something on him, which would be interesting. But, I'm so hyped right now for this Batman, and I am so glad that that someone that actually went, we heard rumors about Warner Brothers was just so displeased about the movie, and that, it was so terrible, that Robert Patterson looked so horrible and so frail. Well, maybe there was a reason why that he did, in trying to, and if he's a method actor, you have to remember that, trying to portray Batman here, without all the toys, without all the gadgets, and that's, he has the Batmobile and all that, and, I think it's important really to, I really wished I could make my Batman movie, that, if you take all of that away, what do you have? You have the world's greatest detective. You have the bat suit, or you have, what separates him from that. If you take away everything, you still have this complicated man that is the Dark Knight. And let's really get into that. The Dark Knight, the Knight, that's what he becomes, a knight, and really, that he is a defender of those that can't defend themselves. That he is the bearer of justice, and and the Riddler questions this about him, about what justice is, and that everything that he bases his whole persona on is false. Maybe the Riddler knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne. Wouldn't that be something? We don't know what, how far that they're going to go with this. So, I'm looking forward to this. I may venture out and be the first movie that I went to in a long time, because Batman is my favorite superhero, because he's just a normal dude, and fighting for justice. He's not really normal. He is rich. He has all these gadgets and everything, but so we're going to see how the movie goes. It's supposed to be bloody. It's supposed to be a horror show. It's supposed to be, an interesting, dark world that is created. I guess that's why Warner Brothers has come out and they have said that Matt Reeves as Batman is in his own universe, and I think that's good. That they keep it separate and they're not crossing over that universe with any other, like the Flash, any of the Flashpoints or anything like that. Really, it might be a way, and I hope, and I wanted to get to this point that, lately a lot of movies that Marvel has put out, and I don't know how Shang-Chi is going to do in The Legend of the Ten Rings, but I doubt that it's going to be a $100 million movie, bringing in at the box office. We know that Black Widow really underperformed, and for Warner Brothers, Suicide Squad 2 really underperformed. And Marvel is counting on Spider-Man to make $1 billion worldwide. So is Sony. And they really need to. They need a win. Now, Disney had a win with the Jungle Trip. I guess that was the name of The Rock's movie. It finally edged over $100 million in theaters. So really, I guess that, they've just got to be able to, have that plan to where they can release these and then put them on, Disney Plus. Jungle Cruise was on Disney Plus, but Warner Brothers needs this to be a win because they have not been doing very well at the box office with hardly any of their films. And if this movie lives up to the hype, because Batman, we can say all we want to about Zack Snyder and the Snyderverse and everything like that. Batman is Warner Brothers, Time Warner Media, AT&T. It is their most lucrative intellectual property, Batman. And even though during the 90s we got some really, really crap movies until Christopher Nolan's version of Batman. And those movies was decent. But those movies always, brought in some decent bank. And so, Warner Brothers needs a win with this movie. And, you invest $100 million and you invest $100 million in a film. And it tanks. And you continue to do that over time, it's going to have serious consequences for, and we think of these film and these studios as too big to fail. But, there's been past of studios that have failed, of really some studios like MGM that has been hemorrhaging because of past failures. And so, really, Warner Brothers needs Batman to be $1 billion movie in the box office. Now, a lot of this does depend on the China market, and let's just, be honest with that. But if they stick to this plan, and if this movie lives up to its hype of what this Blu-ray Angel has said, then it should hopefully with people getting more out, with more people becoming vaccinated, it should really make a difference in their budget. And so I hope that it is successful. I hope that we do get, with all this hype of everything that's been said, that even at the end of this movie, the people that was in attendance of this screening, and with these screenings they have to sign a non-disclosure agreement, where they can't disclose what's in the movie. But this is a spoiler-free, really, review and of this screening that at the end it has such a twist that it does set up another movie, and I hope that it does, because I want to see more Batman movies made. I hope that that even though that I've been critical of Robert Patterson's portrayal based off of rumors, which I really shouldn't base them off rumors that comes from sources that are continually negative, and which is true, and because a lot of the toxic rumors that are out there are just simply rumors, and I think they really have a negative effect upon people going to the box office to watch movies, or even getting the movies on demand when they come available. And it really, that I think was the number one factor in the opening weekend being so dismal for Black Widow, was the negative press that it received before the movie was released. So who knows? I mean, there was a lot of plot holes in it, but it was a decent film. But and it still made, over 300 million, maybe more, maybe close to 400 million now, which still is underperforming. It would have made more if it was released, and if it was made like when it was supposed to be made, in the continuity between the two Infinity Wars, or in between Civil War and Infinity War. But anyway, we can, look at this and we can say, hey, I hope the Batman, is successful. I hope that it is as gritty and as dark as that some of the comic series, animated series, is with the Batman. And I hope that the story is told and it is portrayed by the actors in a good way. And I think people want more realism in films rather than the campy 90s type films that we got from Batman. If we can look at Christopher Nolan's films, people liked that type of realism and dark feature of Batman. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see this portrayed on the screen. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, and look forward to it. And I hope that each of you enjoyed this, that you will go to these different, particularly to Babu, to his review of this, which was absolutely fantastic. And also be there to say, hey, yeah, this is pretty good. And I know this is kind of a long review, but these are my thoughts on the Batman. We'll talk to you again next time. Bye bye.